I want to bring on Tiffany Shlain. Now, what I don't know is that we're going to run first we're going to run the trailer of the movie that she just made. It's a full feature-length documentary. She's been making films for over a decade. I'm very, very pleased about the focus of this one, and it's done very well at all the festivals and just got picked up for distribution nationally. But let's see the trailer, and then I'll bring Tiffany on.
So I'm at lunch with this really good friend of mine, and we are having a fantastic time. I haven't seen her in years. We're laughing, drinking, talking, but I'm still getting this urge to check my email. And I was like, Tiffany, stay focused. You traveled all the way across the United States to see her. Stay focused. But eventually it was like, it overtook me. And then I faked needing to go to the bathroom. So I excused myself, grabbed my phone, go into the bathroom stall, kind of hiding, texting, emailing, thinking, what if I become? I can't be the only one sneaking to the bathroom to check my email. Technology is clearly changing us, and the way we connect with our friends, our families, and the world around us. So I set out to make a film about what it means to be connected in the 21st century. Things are changing. There's so much more to think about. And that pace of change is only accelerating. How much faster can it go before we can't keep up? This was the kind of question I was exploring in this film. And then I had this year that turned my world upside down. And forced me to rethink everything I thought I understood about the ways we're connected. We as humans have accumulated so much knowledge. Why do we have such a hard time seeing the bigger picture? For centuries, we've been declaring independence, and perhaps it's time to finally declare our interdependence.
Join me in welcoming Tiffany Shlain. So that's a powerful trailer. Tiffany sent me the movie to watch, and then yelled at me for the way I watched it, which is that I watched the first 70 minutes and didn't watch the last 10, and then I watched the last 10, which she said was the problem with all of us, is that we don't stop.
But I also do that. I mean, that's the thing, is that as much my own viewing habits, I mean, I don't think anything will replace going to a dark room and seeing a movie, just as nothing will replace all gathering here to learn information.
Right.
But yet, a lot of people want to watch it in their living rooms, but I know personally, by the time I get to watch something, it's kind of later than I had hoped, and I often fall asleep. So as a filmmaker, that's like your worst nightmare. Like, don't watch them on your couch before you go to bed.
This film's getting, it got picked up, so to speak. And you've worked in a field where just getting to Sundance or all the other festivals that chose your film, that's kind of the whole goal of your world. What changes when now you have to sort of think about the idea that your film's going to be in a lot of dark theaters with a lot of people watching it?
Well, it's incredibly exciting. I mean, our whole goal with the film is to trigger a global conversation about what does it mean to be connected in the 21st century. So here at the summit, you're doing it through business and how is this affecting your companies, and I'm really interested in that too, and I'm also interested in how it's affecting us personally, which I also think you're talking about here. But I do think people need to talk about how it's changing their lives, how it's changing their businesses. How can we harness all this connectivity to make the world better, to make our lives easier? So I'm hoping to trigger a conversation. We made a whole discussion kit that goes with the movie. And the fact that it's going to be in movie theaters is incredibly exciting. And I'm almost most excited about all the social media experiments we're going to do with the film. I mean, obviously we had the credits and we did a lot of new forms, but we're working with Paladin is distributing the film in theaters, and then Mark Schiller from Electric Artists, who did all the social media on exit through the gift shop. And we're going to be doing a whole bunch of experiments with social media to engage people in the theater and then to carry that conversation outward after they see the movie.
So give us some examples of what you mean by that.
Well, we've been developing a mobile phone app that will go with the movie. So, you know, you go to a movie, and if you really enjoy the movie and you want to talk about it, you want to do that right after that film ends. So, you know, we're creating a mobile phone app that's going to have everything from, like, let you obviously talk about it, share it with friends, but then also share your own thoughts about connectedness. And then on a real practical level, the film explores how you can kind of, the premise of the film is about everything is connected and how can we use that, right? So there's so much information out there that we don't have access to. So we're working with The Good Guide, which has a mobile phone app that lets you scan the barcode on products and find out, is that product environmentally friendly? Does it support my belief system? So we're working with them about developing an app that integrates also political data. So like, connect the dots. This is an interdependent world. If I'm going shopping, I know my shopping list. I might only want to buy products from companies that support my belief system. So by scanning barcodes or creating lists, so that's a practical way you could carry the ideas of the film Connected into your everyday life. Vote with your wallet, because we do know that commerce makes change. So that's like on a practical level. And then on an emotional level, how are you connected? You know, are you over-connected? Like I personally, as much as I love technology, because we both have shared this love for a long time with our businesses, but you know, I just started doing technology Shabbats where my family, we turn off all technology on Friday nights for 1 day a week. And it's like changed my life.
How?
Because, you know, we have 2 little kids. My husband's a professor of robotics at Berkeley, so he's very wired. And I was getting too wired. I wasn't sleeping well. And I was feeling like on the weekends, which is like the time you're all working towards when you have little kids, or any age kids, or your partner or lover, you want to focus and be with them because we're all on 24/7. And I just found I needed a boundary. So I remember like saying with my husband, you know, we need to talk, you know, can we do this? And he's like, yeah, let's try it. And now we kind of run towards Friday nights. And it's a beautiful, the day is like 4 times as long, you know, on Saturday. And then we run back to technology on Saturday night and we're so hungry for it and appreciate it more. So I think that people also need to be talking about that as much as we're talking about how fantastic all these new tools are. So this film really explores the human aspect of technology as well as the potential globally of all the things that this technology can bring.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in the film.
Yeah, it also
And
has a person.
How long did it take you to make?
It's, you know, 4 years. I mean, I started making it, and it was very much an idea film about, you know, how technology is changing us in the 21st century, kind of the history of the human species with connectedness and where I think we're going. And it was very much an intellectual film, and my films have a lot of humor, an idea film. And then in the middle of making it, my father, who was a co-writer of the movie, he's an author, and writes a lot about the brain. And I explore a lot about the brain and how technology is changing the brain in the film. And he was diagnosed with brain cancer. And so suddenly here I was making this film about connectedness, and I wasn't dealing with emotional connectedness. So then I did the very difficult process of kind of weaving in my own story of connectedness. And so it's kind of half autobiographical and half about the story of...
Do you think that's why the film's working? Because it's very personal.
Yeah. You know,
It's kind of, at the end, it's sort of there's a tearjerker. I hope I didn't give away too much.
No, I mean, I think that to really reach people, and actually I think that's what social media, why it works so well, you have to speak your truth. I mean, I think people can sniff if somebody isn't being authentic in tweets, if they're just pushing out marketing and they're not saying some truth. And I found my guiding principle was to speak my truth, I would speak some universal truth. And everybody is going to lose a parent, or maybe already has. Everyone's a child. Everyone's connected today, or a lot of the planet. I do think it's not that far away when we're all connected, and I hope that happens sooner than later, so we can all have access to all this information.
Well, one would think that it's possible that the moral of the film, if you haven't seen it, is that you need disconnect.
But it's not. It's more complicated than that, because the film, obviously, you know, I founded the Webby Awards. I'm super into technology. I geek out a lot, and I always love hearing all these talks and the new stuff coming up. But as powerful as technology is, don't lose sight of being present with the people that you love. I mean, I know there's people in my family I connect with better on different forms of media. It's easier to email or tweet or to stay connected, but don't lose sight of the most important things in this world, which is our desire to connect. So the film, you know, really talks about the potential of technology to help solve the world's problems. Like, that's the most exciting aspect to me of technology. But then also explore it personally. Are you a little over-connected? Should you create some boundaries? How is it affecting your relationships? I also think that's incredibly important. And I do think that's what's reaching people. As scary as it was, I've done like 8 or 9 films. I've never done anything personal in a film. It was very scary to do.
Right, right. There were 2 things in the film that I wanted to ask you about. One of them is in the film, you're partly the narrator. Peter Coyote is another narrator. So you say, or you posit, that the internet is changing the way we think.
Yeah.
How?
My father, who was co-writing it, wrote a book called The Alphabet versus the Goddess, and the main theory of that book is whenever literacy was introduced into society, that reading is very linear, which is really associated with the left hemisphere. And it's a very male-dominated, most people associate it also with men. And he goes all throughout civilization and looks at how when literacy was introduced, how usually males started to dominate, goddesses went away, we went to more patriarchy and male-based religions. And so he goes all throughout history. And then with the image, electromagnetism, so photography, film in the 20s, and television, and now the internet, that it's really reactivated the right hemisphere, all this image-based culture which we're living in. But what the internet does is it uses both. It really stimulates the left and right hemisphere, and I think it's helping us think interdependently. I mean, all the lingo we're using at this conference, linking, connecting, you know, all the data we can see to visualize patterns, that's very right hemisphere. So I'm very excited about, you know, so many people are pessimistic about the world, but I feel like I am so excited about what this technology, where it can take us, because I feel like we are ultimately curious and want to connect. If you think about that as a species, that's our 2 biggest things, our brains and our need to connect, and empathy. So if we can kind of start looking at the links, I think the 20th century was about silos and declaring independence, and I think the 21st century is about understanding the links, understanding interdependence, how to use it for social good, how to use it for business, how to use it to connect people all over the world and knowledge from all over the world. So that's where I'm hopeful. I mean, not in a Pollyanna way, because I think there's a lot of struggling with how to incorporate this technology so it doesn't overtake our lives. And that's why, you know, I'm unplugging 1 day a week.
What do you, and I'm sure you're asked to speak to marketers quite a bit. What do you say to marketers, given the study you've made of people's connection to technology and culture?
You know, I think speaking, just as I said, speaking my truth reached people. Whoa, that was dramatic, right? As a filmmaker, it's like sound effect, okay. But just as speaking my truth is speaking to people with this film, and I'm so excited to see it kind of in theaters in fall in an array of audiences. I think, you know, speak the truth about what you're trying to do. You know, the integrity, authenticity, you know, that's what it's all about. People are becoming so sensitive to when it's not real.
Do you think that large companies, large brands have a role to play in making the world a better place? Or is their job to make stuff we buy?
Okay. I truly believe that if you want to make your company part of what's helping the world, you can. And if you want to only focus on profit, then you're not going to. But I think everyone has the power. Everyone in this room with these tools can also integrate helping to solve the world's problems, to help, you know, we have all these tools that are connecting all these different perspectives. So, you know, I am a pragmatic optimist, and I believe if that's a goal, then we can. There's this corporation, this company, it's called B Corp, and they incorporate, they certify companies that incorporate interdependence into their bylaws, corporations. Like, let's make that a part of what we're thinking about, how we're interdependent with other things, with the environment, with human rights, with, I mean, everyone can do that.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to be working on next?
Well, we're really excited. We're just launching this new series of short films called Let It Ripple, Mobile Films for Change. And we're going to be making short films that we're going to release on the web and let nonprofits and organizations put their own ending on. So it's going to be like kind of offering up and letting people crowdsource social activism films. But I've been really, and that's just starting, but I mean, my real focus right now, along with that, is, you know, I'm hoping all the people in your audience, it's going to be out in the fall, my first movie in movie theaters, so we'll hope you see it. And we're doing some early screenings at companies, so if anyone here is interested in having kind of an early buzz screening, there's someone that will be handing something out. Or you could just use all this social media. You know, we're really going to do a lot of experiments with social media, so if you could post the trailer or tweet about it. We don't have a big marketing budget, but we're hoping that the social media, we're really going to put it to work and see how that does. I mean, so I'm really excited about, you know, being involved in this conversation with the film in theaters.
Great. Well, we're going to
We're going to show one more.
We're going to show a little bit more of the movie, and then we're going to go to a break. So let's see a little bit more of Connected.
Oh, let me just set up one thing. So this is towards the end of the movie, and my father was working on a book called Leonardo's Brain, and it looked at Leonardo da Vinci as the harbinger of the future of our species. So he's just finished the book, I've just finished reading it, and I'm kind of getting a big insight from his insight.
Great, let's watch.
500 years after Da Vinci, we're seeing a new glimpse into the future of our species. Still in its infancy, the internet is helping each of us to synthesize the two hemispheres of our mind. Clicking through the radical explosion of text information online is activating the left hemisphere, and linking from page to page, video to video, is stimulating the right hemisphere. The internet is literally changing the way we think, moving us through a constantly evolving landscape of words and images at the touch of a keystroke, synthesizing the two hemispheres of our brain. If this rewiring of the brain is happening on an individual level to each person who uses the web, imagine the cumulative effect of a Da Vinci-type brain synthesis on a global scale. Today, there are close to 2 billion people online. What would the world look like if everyone on the planet could be online? It's not that far away. There are already 5 billion cell phones on the planet. We're at the beginning of a participatory revolution. Ideas are free to interact, reproduce, and cross-pollinate instantaneously, creating new hybrid ideas that combine perspectives from all over the world. Connecting ideas, data, and cultures from millions of brains into a global thinking structure with infinite possibilities, where each text, hyperlink, or tweet is like a neural synapse firing out to everyone you're connected to. And with each connection, we get a surge of oxytocin. It's like the internet is creating a global network for oxytocin to flow. which makes us more empathetic, inclined to share and collaborate, and driven to connect even more. The internet is rewiring our brains to think interdependently, changing the way we connect to the world online and off. I thought about what my mother said, that emotional connection drives everything we do. So if we can just channel that emotional connection, we'll be compelled to work together to solve the problems we face and take humanity to the next level. This, combined with all the other ways to connect and make change, are going to take us to a whole new place. As we become more connected, we'll be able to see the cause and effect of our actions in real time. What we buy, donate, eat, and throw away. We're just starting to unlock and share information about the 100 trillion things that we've made in this world. Once we understand the supply chains and see the links of our actions, it's going to make us more thoughtful and conscious about our behavior. Imagine if everyone was thinking interdependently. The ripple effect would change the world.
Well, let's hope it does.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.